Good day, all, and I hope you have had yourself a fantastic week. Today, the first question I have for you is, how many of you think that life is unfair? How many of us believe and think that life has been unfair to us? That we have done the right things at the right time, we have been responsible for pursuing our own dreams, and somewhere along the line, life just constantly interferes. You see, for many of us, that is the story that we can tell about our lives. We spend a large amount of time interrogating all that is bad that has happened to us. Many of us at a young age have lost people that we care about. You've either lost a parent, a sibling, a grandparent, a favorite aunt, both parents. Grief is a part of the ever-changing cycle of life. And grief comes to all of us at one stage or another. Yet when you are beset with the grief and when you are the one who's asked to deal with the loss of somebody that you care about, we begin to label those difficult moments and there's those moments of hardships as life being unfair. We have come up with different sayings to justify our feelings in those moments, like, why did this have to happen to me? And an uncanny and an unjust question is, if not you, then who? You see, each and every one of us at some point in our lives are going to be faced with difficulties. We're going to be faced with challenges that force us to interrogate our perception and our viewpoint of life. And the first one that I highlighted is grief. That when most of us are faced with grief, we think that we are the only ones who are going through that experience or who have gone through that experience. We find it unkind and unjustifiable why we are being subjected to so much pain and so much anguish. I know the first time I truly felt what grief felt like was in my second year of varsity when my aunt passed away. You see, my whole life, I was working in order to buy her a car, to make sure that she lives in a beautiful house, because to me, she was the epitome of love. And she was constantly there in the good and the bad times. She was the one adult I was my most comfortable around and with. And so when she passed away, it changed my whole viewpoint of life and sent me into a spiral of depression. And in that point, and for the ensuing 6 years, I viewed life as extremely unkind and extremely unfair. The second part that makes us think that life is unfair is our health. You see, many of us have done the right things. We have taken care of our bodies. You may exercise regularly. You may eat the right kind of food, and yet you constantly find yourself in terminal pain. Or you find yourself constantly facing different kinds of diseases. You find yourself in a situation where you've been to different doctors, you've sought different opinions, and yet their response is constantly the same. We can't find what is wrong with you. And we all know that when you are in physical discomfort, it makes it difficult to do the things that you love and to be a energetic, kind, caring, and outgoing person, because pain stifles us. It stifles our progress, it stifles our thoughts, and it stifles our creativity and the enjoyment that we get from life. And in those moments, we begin to use terms such as, life is unfair. Why is this particular illness happening to me? If not you, then who? And I think that's a very important question that we must learn to ask ourselves, because everyone in life is going through something. And unfortunately, at this point in time, yours may be grief. It may be your physical well-being, or it may be your mental well-being. There are many of you who have nothing physically wrong. However, getting up in the morning is a struggle. It's a challenge. You constantly have to push yourself to show up for those that you care about, or to show up for yourself. Many of you are constantly contemplating suicidal thoughts and ideations. You aren't happy or comfortable in your own body or with the thoughts that are constantly rummaging and running through your brain. And you are thinking to yourself, what have I done for my brain to betray me the way it is betraying me? What have I done that I do not have the same enjoyment and fulfillment from things that I used to enjoy and things that used to bring me so much joy? What have I done that my life does not look like the kind of life that I had envisioned for myself when I was growing up? How many of you are listening to me now and are thinking to yourself, my struggles are even deeper? They are spiritual. I don't know why I'm here. I don't know what purpose I'm meant to fulfill. I don't know which direction my life is heading in. I don't know whether there is a God or whether there isn't a God, if there is divinity, spirituality. I'm just here. And by virtue of being here, I'm constantly trying to figure this life thing out, but it feels so difficult. It feels so burdensome. You see, at different stages, we are all going to struggle with life. Life is unfair to each and every individual, and therefore there is a level of fairness that exists. You see, the truth about life is that most of the people that you interact with, be it your friends, your family, or your colleagues, each of those people are going through some sort of challenge or some sort of struggle. We have mastered the art of presenting a well put together image or figure, because that is what is required for us to be able to survive day-to-day lives. So you see people and you ask them how are they doing, and their responses are generic. I'm doing fine. I'm okay. I'm good. You see people and you see them smile and you hear they laugh and you automatically assume that everything in their life is okay. Most of us are doing our best to portray such happiness, to try to cultivate that level of joy, that level of sincerity and kindness, despite the fact that we may find certain bits and pieces of our lives challenging. See, life is unfair. I think we can all agree on that. But then the question becomes, if life is unfair to all of us, how do we then keep on living? And how do we then create a life that resembles joy? How do you then build a life that resembles kindness? How do you keep living with a smile on your face despite the numerous challenges and difficulties that you are going through? My first suggestion is that you stop comparing yourself to other people. You see, people only show you the best versions of themselves. If you watch people's statuses, if you log on to their Instagram or you go on to their TikTok, people are constantly showing us the happy side of their lives. There are very few people who post an Instagram story about their depression, about their grief, about their physical pain, about their mental struggles, or their spiritual hardships. Often people only show us the good side of what they're going through. And that good side further fuels this feeling of unfairness and inadequacy with our own lives. But the truth of the matter is, you don't share those things with people either. On your social media, on your WhatsApp statuses, on your Snapchats, you aren't sharing the worst part of yourself. You show people the good, the fun times, the times that you want to remember and you want to cherish. And so the first thing on this path to unburdening yourself of this unfairness that life has placed on you is to stop comparing yourself to other people. It's to understand that each and every one of us are going through difficulties and we're going through our own challenges and our own struggles. And that what you see is the best version of myself. What you experience is me pushing through all the hardships, all the pain, all the grief, the same way you are. And so if you can put down this weight of expectation that you are supposed to be on the same level, same standard, or as happy, or appear as joyful as other people, you start to realize that each and every one of us have our own challenges and our own difficulties, and we are all simply trying to do the best we can with what we have. The second thing is focus on your inner being. You see, so many of us are so concerned with how we appear externally that we have allowed our inner being to suffer, to deteriorate, and to become somebody we do not recognize. Wherever you go, whatever you do, you are going to encounter challenges and difficulties. The idea is to make sure that internally you are so secure, you are so strong, that you can handle the external challenges that life throws your way. And this you do through simple practices that don't take too long, but have an exponential effect on how you are going to feel and how you are going to view yourself. And the first is meditation. It's the art of learning how to silence your mind. It's the art of learning how not to react to every situation. It's the art of learning how to control your emotions, of being mindful, of silencing the inside so you are able to effectively deal with the outside. You can do it for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, however long you are able to sit in silence and to meditate. The second is journaling. Often many of us are running through life and we don't take the moment to express how we feel or to unburden ourselves of the built-up emotions that we have. You see, so many of us live day to day without ever processing what we have gone through. And as we've already unpacked, there are many of us who have gone through an awful lot. And we go through each and every day carrying this burden. And I'm here to say to you, if you are not comfortable going to speak to a psychologist, you are not comfortable speaking to family or friends, then get yourself a paper and a pen and be comfortable expressing how you feel and what you have been through to yourself. It will help to unburden this heavy load that you are carrying. The next thing that most of us neglect is our spiritual lives. You see, if you are not well spiritually, you are constantly going to see the world as an unfair and an unjust place. We all live in the same world, yet you will find two people who are living through the exact same circumstances who are experiencing life completely differently. This has nothing to do with the environment, but has everything to do with their belief systems. What are your beliefs? What do you tell yourself on a daily basis? When you are spending time by yourself, what are you thinking? What is your view take on God, on the universe, on why you are here? You see, if you don't have answers to that question, or those questions, everything that happens in life is going to seem like it is not leading you anywhere. It's going to feel onerous and it's going to feel like a burden. So settle on that. Firstly, settle on not comparing yourself to other people. Secondly, work on your inner being, including, and most importantly, your spirituality. And lastly, find joys in the little things. There is so much good that is constantly happening in this world that we have closed our eyes off to. If you switch on the television and you listen to the news, all you hear is the bad that is happening in your community, the bad that is happening in the world. Very rarely do you switch on the news and hear something good. And so it becomes your job to seek out those little pieces of joy. The walks, the birds singing in the morning, the annoying barking dog that wakes you up, or the cool breeze when you are standing outside, the laughter of your daughter, the breakfast that you enjoy, your favorite song, your favorite movie, your favorite food. You see, life, it comes with its difficulties, but it also weighs that so perfectly with the joys that we can experience on a day-to-day basis. So instead of simply focusing on how unfair life has been to you, let's focus on some of the friends it has given you, some of the family members you get to share this journey with, or the job opportunities you have received, or wonderful lady luck who sometimes alters life in your favor. You see, life can be hard, but it can also be good. It's a balancing act of yin and yang. And so you get to decide. In this moment, you can continue living in the unfairness of life, and you'll be justified in your belief and in your standpoint. Or you can turn your head and start to see the beauty and the joy that exists in the little things, and the beauty and joy that lives in you. Please have the courage to pick up the mic, to remember that you are the captain of your own ship, you are the master of your destiny, and you are the creator of your own reality. You and you alone have the power to craft the life that you believe you are destined for. But this only happens if you begin to change your thoughts, because your thoughts will influence your words and your actions, and ultimately the reality that you live within. Have yourselves a wonderful and powerful week. With love, peace, and happiness, I am Marama Matlo.